During the worst of this pandemic, our churches were closed for public worship. And then at Little Flower, we had the additional challenge that our parish was under construction, up until recently when we reopened. I heard one father tell me that his son really missed the familiarity of coming to Mass in the time that we were closed. If you're honest with yourself, did you miss the familiarity of gathering with our parish family for Mass or coming to religious formation? Previously, we had it pretty easy to practice our faith, and we might have even taken it for granted. Only when it was taken away did we maybe start to see its importance in our lives. To take this in a slightly different direction, can you imagine not being able to practice your faith because of fear of persecution or punishment? This is where I want to share with you about the story of Blessed Miguel Pro. He was born on January 13th, 1891 in Mexico to an affluent family. He was known for his humor, he wrote comics, played the guitar, and had a love for the poor. He joined the Jesuit order, a religious order, the same as Pope Francis, but had to leave Mexico as the persecution against the church at that time in Mexico was too severe. He eventually was ordained a priest far from his native land in Belgium in 1925. The next year, he returned to his native Mexico, knowing that the government was trying to ban the public practice of our Catholic faith. For example, worship could not take place outside of a church. Priests could not wear religious clothing. They were not allowed to vote, and some were even killed. The church had to go underground. In order to exercise his ministry, Miguel would often wear disguises. He would celebrate Mass in people's homes at times that people would not expect, marry couples in alleyways, baptize babies in a moving car, hear confessions on a park bench where it looked like both people were reading the newspaper but actually going to confession, and frequently being on the move to avoid being arrested. Despite all these difficulties, he was joyful, lighthearted, and played practical jokes his whole life. Can you imagine if you had to risk your life just to connect with God through the sacraments? How special and important these must be to make that sacrifice. In 1927, he and his brother Roberto were unjustly accused of trying to assassinate the Mexican president and dictator, Calles. His brother Roberto was acquitted, but Miguel was sentenced to death, even without a trial. Before he died, he declared his innocence. He forgave his executioners, extends his arms like the crucified Christ, and his last words were, "Viva Cristo Rey, long live Christ the King," right before he was shot. The dictator put photos of the execution in the newspaper in the hope that this would scare people and keep them from revolting against him. Instead, people defied his order, and 40,000 people lined the streets chanting, "Viva Cristo Rey," and 20,000 more were in the cemetery. Can you imagine that? A priest was forbidden to pray the burial prayers, so Miguel's father actually prayed them instead. Now, yes, it is distressing to hear about how he died in this way, but it is also inspiring, I hope, to see that he had such courage to faithfully minister for Jesus Christ and his people even when it cost him. Anything we value in life costs us, right? If we want to excel at sports, dance, or music, for instance, we have to prioritize that over other activities or just relaxing. It's the same way with our faith. If we value our relationship with Jesus, at times it will cost us, though probably not in great ways like Miguel Pro, but it will cost us nevertheless. Some examples are prioritizing coming to Mass or participating in it online, even when we don't really feel so connected to God. Not participating or changing the subject when all our friends are gossiping about others, or being willing to reach out to someone in school that others make fun of or just sits by him or herself. Let's be inspired and ask Blessed Miguel Pro to pray for us to love Jesus, especially when it costs us. Until next time, don't forget to rest a while with Jesus.